Hello and welcome along to another episode of this FM21 story, The Head Coach with me, Daniel. It's part 45 today and we are back with Derby County for a potentially massive moment. We've got Wolves and West Brom, two of the promotion contenders in the Championship, as we're starting to edge towards the playoffs after a dream start. However, this is where the run of tough fixtures start. Even after this episode, we've then got Barnsley, but following that Sheffield Wednesday and Millwall. So 4 of the top 6 in the next 5 games. It's going to be a real barometer of how far we can go this year. It isn't helped by the fact we've got a long-term injury to Christian Bielik, who's unfortunately fallen with a hip injury, something that's been recurring for a long time with him. And Callum Morton is out again with a knock, so we continue to miss our star striker. But if you're looking forward to this episode with transfer deadline day round the corner as well, please do put a thumbs up on the video. Subscribe down below for daily FM21 content from 2 long-term stories, European adventures with Bangor City and the Other Save, a live stream series twice a week, and a link to the podcast channel in the eye above with loads of football content, particularly focused on the Championship. But let's have a quick look at the schedule to see what's been happening since you were last with me. Just the 4 games off camera, and it went pretty much as we expected. We struggled away at Bristol City. Oliver Burke scored a cracker. Joe Lolly scored a good goal. Lecco covering up front, he got 2 for us, and it made sure we kept that unbeaten run going. A big defeat in the FA Cup to Leeds. Ollie Watkins with 2, Todd Cantwell with 1. A 1-0 win at home to Huddersfield. Jacob Hall with a brilliant late strike. He's really coming into his own at the moment. And then a 3-1 win away at Pompey. Hall got the last one again after Jason Knight and Adam Messina had struck with 1 apiece before Pompey's goal. So today, 2 very tough tests, transfer deadline day as well. And we've got 1 new signing to talk about. You might have noticed the name there. There's a few players going out as well. It looks like Jahan Bash is going to be leaving on the 29th. He's agreed to deal with Akmat. There's a few others that have left the club as well, and 1 more first teamer that's come in. So CJ Egan Riley is the big one. 400 grand for Manchester City. Former England under-20 international, 22 years of age now. A natural right back and a natural holding midfielder. A great personality, a good trainer, and already making an impact off the bench. Barry Scully's a youngster who came in from Shelbourne in Ireland. He's not quite so good at 20 years of age, but he's got pace to burn, so he'll work in the under-23s. We'll see if he gets an opportunity later on. So the director of football made 1 good addition to the squad so far. We'll wait and see if there's going to be any more or not. Certainly no sign of that 45 million being spent. We also got 14 million in from a future clause for one of the youngsters that had been sold on in the past. But plenty of players have left the club this month. We saw a few were on the transfer list already, and there's a few more that have gone out as well. So Jurgen Locadia we did know about, 3.2 million to Belgium. He couldn't get a work permit. Robert Apter has gone on loan to Bolton, a young right winger from the under-23s. Kiefer Moore went to Stoke, £1.5 million for him. He was on the transfer list when we joined. And John Guidetti was transfer listed by request. He was unhappy he wasn't getting a contract or playing football. So he's gone over to Turkey, nearly £3 million for him, but it leaves us very light up front. Bartosz Cybulski has gone to Gillingham for 30,000. He was in the under-23s as well. And the same for Seb Thompson, who's gone for about 7 grand to Grimsby. Lots of Deadwood leaving the club, and I'm not actually that displeased about any of these going, other than only having 1 real striker left. But we do need a few replacements. We do need some quality in. You can see Adam Reach, who was transfer listed when we joined, he's already wanted at the end of his contract. Carl Darlow's unhappy at the club. Nathan Trott's wanted, he's out of contract at the end of the year. So there's a few potential concerns moving forward. But for now, we're happy with how things are going on and off the pitch, so let's get into the 2 big games. They would normally be the focus of an episode like this, but with transfer deadline day in the middle, that's something for us to really look at. So 1 problem resolved by Bielik's injury is Lenihan and Pearson both start now. We don't have to decide which one. Jacob Hall is very tired and Morton's got a knock, so Lecco and Arvin Appiah come in. Both of them usually super subs, and those 2 are on the bench today. We have got 10 or 11 days off after. This one's been brought forward because Wolves have got an FA Cup tie. So let's go and get into it. Our 11 is as usual. Just Bielik out, Pearson and Lenihan both start instead of just the 1. And Lecco in for the injured Morton up front. So let's get into it. First game of the day. And it's promotion chasing Wolves v playoff chasing Derby now. Can we get up to the top 6 after joining a relegation threatened side? Because this is turning into a honeymoon start. But I've got a feeling over the next 5 games, the honeymoon might end pretty quickly. Wolves, despite being a championship side, still have some brilliant players there. Nelson Semedo still at the club. Harvey Barnes from Leicester. They've got the likes of Gedson Fernandes, currently on loan at Tottenham. And Nico Williams, our former Cliftonville hero from FM20. And Chem Campbell's there as well. We had him at Charlton in last year's head coach. So lots of familiar names. We'll get the boys motivated. And into the first half we go at Pride Park. Can we keep the unbeaten league run going? Or will Wolves prove a bit too strong? Well, I can't say I'm devastated based on the opposition and what we need to squeeze into today's episode. But that was an awful half of football. No real chances, no highlights whatsoever. So we're just going to tell the lads to prove a point. Keep them going, keep them into the second half. The one thing I have noticed about Darragh Lenihan at the back there, as we nearly concede from the corner. The first minute of the second half sees the first highlight and we almost let in a goal. But Lenihan, very similar to Ryan Porteous at Hibs in our last club. Very aggressive, very rarely happy or motivated. But as we get to the hour mark, it's still 0-0. And against Wolves, this is a great effort. So with 25 to go, we'll think about changes. Because Max Bird is absolutely shattered there. We'll bring on Jensen Weir for him, who's natural enough in the middle. And then we'll think about the two big guns as we get towards the end. The last 20, Leko's not had a good game. But what I'm going to do is be a bit more careful. Whittaker's out of steam as well, so we'll bring on Jacob Hall for the last 20 minutes. Arvin Appiah will switch to the left as an inverted winger, where he's had most of his days as a super sub, it must be said. Hall will go back to his usual right-hand side, and Callum Morton, as he got 20 in him up front, it's the first day CJ Egan-Riley hasn't come on actually, the new signing. But with 10 to go, it's been a fairly even game. Wolves have had the slightly better of it, but we're fighting, and with 10 days off after this, the tired legs will get a rest. But into stoppage time we go. We have seen one highlight in the whole match. One highlight, which was a header over from a corner. And it is Derby 0, Wolves 0. Remember all those thrillers we had in the first two games? The 2-3-2s, the good results in the other games, the high-scoring thrillers, all gone there. But as it stands, we face 6th place West Brom next, and we keep our championship unbeaten run going. Now 19 points clear of the relegation zone, that is some turnaround. And we'll be back on transfer deadline day. We're back for transfer deadline day. No more ins yet, just your Cambach leaving the club. In fact, there was one youngster that came in who's not very good, but we've got to mention his name. Because it's Cody Collins, who we had at Hibernian. And he was bought in, and I asked at that point, why on earth's he been bought? And I'm asking the same question now. But thankfully, only £8,000, so no big waste of money. What might end up being a big waste of money, as good a player as he is Imari Samuels from Reading. Now, I actually like this player. I think he's a good pro. He'd come in and be our backup left back, as the director of football highlighted in the recruitment meeting we needed, and he can also cover on the right and in wing back positions. However, he is not worth £11.25 million plus add-on fees and all of that stuff. His potential isn't massive. It's certainly not better than Messina, albeit he's an experienced fullback, and it's about the same as Archie Brown, who's already our young backup left back. So I don't really get it, but either way, could be a good squad addition, and it's not my money to worry about. So let's get through deadline day, and we'll be back as we have signings, we have sales, and we hopefully have some director of football magic. Let's see if we get it. 9 o'clock, plenty going on already. Barry Scully, the one who was signed earlier in the window, he's gone on loan to Notts County, and Amari Samuels has joined the club. He's also got a bit of a sell on profit, 30%. It's a good deal, he's a good player. It's just not financially good. It's a bit of an overspend, as you would expect in January. But Jason Knight's going to welcome him. He's definitely our backup left back after Adam Messina. He's rated slightly better than Archie Brown, and the potential's about the same. So he's going to do a job, although Shane Nicholson has given us that advice. So let's go and change that very quickly, because he should not be the man who's giving us our advice on players. Although having said that, I've changed it to the assistant manager Paul Williams, and there's no difference there. Although his recommendation, 26%, that's awful. What on earth's that all about? But either way, a good squad player, can still improve, good personality, and he's got loads of experience further down the EFL. So I'm no complaints about working with him. The next offer is for Jesus Medina, a 27-year-old winger from Atlanta United in the MLS. He is a Paraguayan international. He's naturally a left-sider as a winger and can cover on the right as well. He looks alright. A solid addition again. No one's going to set the world alight from these signings, but it's good to have a bit of squad depth. This one a bit more reasonable, less than £4 million, £1 million after 50 league appearances and 13 grand a week as a squad player. Certainly not a huge dent in the budget. Let's see if we get him. And there might be a first big out of the day as well, certainly permanently. The Director of Football has accepted an offer of £34,000 for Nathan Trott. He's our third choice keeper, and if we're going to make a bit of money, it's probably the way we want to do it. He's out of contract at the end of the year, makes sense to get financial rewards. Let's skip ahead, some big deals to be done. Manchester City, surprisingly, have come in for Nathan Trott as well, and I suppose as a cheap third keeper and a homegrown option in the squad, he's not a bad one, so let's see who he chooses. I'm guessing it will be City. Well, we have a second signing of deadline day, and it is Jesus Medina from Atlanta United. We're going to register him with the squad. I think the other lad's an under 21, so we didn't have to. Counts towards our foreign player limit, but we're well short of that. And the Director of Football, to be fair to him, he's being busy. He's filling gaps in the squad, albeit it's not the quality we needed for the first choice 11. Albeit it's probably not the positions we most need cover, which are centre-halves, holding midfield and up front. But it's two very good players. So let's see how we get on the rest of the day. Any more offers? Or is he going to be quiet from this point onwards? Let's go and find out. There's 10.5 hours to go. Well, we're back at 1 o'clock and there's two more bits of news. Nathan Trott, as we expected, has chosen Manchester City over Walsall. £64,000 for him. And we've got an offer made by the Director of Football for Stone. Is it going to be a good player? Is it going to be the striker we need? It's not. It's a third choice goalkeeper. £1,500 from Mansfield. He's solid enough. He'll do a job. I get it. So Aidan Stone has joined the club. 8.5 hours left now. Let's just see if we get one more in. I love a striker. We've only got Morton. I guess with the extra winger, we could play Whittaker. We could play Appiah up top. But it's not enough. Let's get one more in. Director of Football, it's over to you. Well, not a striker, but we might have a centre-half coming in. Reece Burke, currently of Rotherham, is a very good central defender and a ball player as well. Could be a solution to our problems with a good personality. So I've got no problem with that money. A new bid has been made, and we would love to get it done. We hope that things are going well. We can tie up the loose ends. Fingers crossed, we've got one of the three positions we needed. 20 grand a week has been offered, £9 million plus the add-ons afterwards. I think that'll be a decent deal for us. Oh, we're back in this position again. The transfer as Reece Burke has been put on hold because Rotherham have failed to get a replacement. Now, last time we said yes to this, because for some reason the Director of Football can't make this decision, we didn't then end up getting a player, because the Director of Football wouldn't make another bid until this deal was done. Now, I'm looking at Rotherham's transfer activity. They haven't even made an offer for a centre-half. So, is there any point in us accepting a delay? I think we have to because it's the Director of Football's man and it seems right in the spirit of the head coach. So let's just do it and hope it doesn't cost us. Well, we've got to 9 o'clock and we know it's happened again. We're going to have to make a rule exception for that part of the head coach. If the Director of Football can't decide, we're going to have to reject the delays because it's costing them any work. They don't put any other bids in while it's happening and it seems to be a frequent occurrence. In other news, Dunfermline tried to get Olamide Ibrahim on a free transfer at the end of his deal. He's signed a new 2-year contract with us. Currently on loan at Colchester, has massive potential, but not really quite reached it yet. So with 2 hours to go, everything's being held up by Reece Burke, and I don't think Rotherham are doing anything. There's still no sign of them even making a bid for someone. So essentially, they've just ruined our deadline day. Lesson learned, I think. Let me know in the comments what you think about future instances of that. Should we make the decision regarding the delay? Because the Director of Football, in essence, should be doing that in a head coach. But here, there's no way for that to happen. So I think next time, we just have to reject it. But let me know if you agree. The deal has fallen through now, but look, there's 45 minutes left. So it's going to cost any other deals occurring. We've reached the deadline, no other signings made. And I feel like that Reece Burke delay has held up the whole of deadline day. So unfortunately, no further signings, but we did have 2 additions to the club. A fullback in Amari Samuels, 11.25 million from Reading, and Jesus Medina from Atlanta United, 3.9 million for a solid winger. The youngster Aidan Stone, a third choice keeper. A couple leaving the club as well, Scully on loan to Notts County, and Nathan Trott, the third choice keeper to City. But now, we might get to test our new signings tomorrow, because we've got West Brom. It's now 8 v 6 after the weekend's games, and it's all to play for in the chase for the playoffs. I'll see you in a moment. We're back for another big game against West Midlands opposition, and it looks like Callum Morton might have to be on the bench again. I'm just trying to look at the games coming up. We've got a week off after. Perhaps I risk it, give them an hour or so. We've got loads of players to close down. We've got a few first teamers to come back in. So Jacob Hall will come back into the 11, as will Callum Morton. And I think that's probably on paper still our strongest 11, especially now we didn't get the new centre-half. What I have got to do is see if there's space on the bench for any of the others. So in terms of defensive options, we've got Jordan Brown, Jamie Hansen, and also Egan Riley, who are all essentially the same player. So as Brown's the weakest of the three, he'll probably come out. And Jensen Weir's someone we've got to think about that too. As long as we've got midfield options on the bench, I think we're all right. So Medina will be on the bench in place of Jordan Brown. And then we've not got to worry about Amari Samuels today because he's suspended due to his actions at Reading just before he left. So this is the 11 we've gone for from the Wolves game, just the two changes. And it's the first teamers coming back in. Jacob Hall, Callum Morton start. Lecco drops to the bench, as does Appiah. Possibly a debut for Medina today though. That will be off the substitutes bench if it is. So let's get into it away at West Brom. And a big test away at one of the big sides. This is where it can all go wrong. Let's see if it does. Some good players in the West Brom team, a mix of experience and youth, the likes of Tyreek Campbell, Tom Rogic, Alioski, Raheem Harper. They've still got Stuart Dallas from Leeds at the back. And then Hajari was a player our director of football bid for, about $9.5 million in January, but he picked West Brom instead. Max O'Leary's a good keeper. They've got quality on the bench. Dujon Sterling we had at Burnley in FM20. Grady Dean Garner's still there. Ben Johnson, the young West Ham player in real life. And Alan Campbell, the Scotsman as well. So there's plenty of quality there. We're going to encourage our boys. And we stick with our balanced mentality. Can it get us a result on the road? Because if we do win this game, I think playoff contention is certainly a thought this season. And we're back early on, just as the 10-minute mark's coming up, as Aaron Smith's coming down the left for the hosts. He's got men chasing him, but he's not really getting much pressure from Hall. He gets all the way to the byline and cuts it back, and Harper's unmarked here. He's got time on the ball, beats his man. Knight had drifted wide, didn't do enough. And the ball's in to Maizian Mawalida, and he makes it 1-0 to West Brom. 10 minutes on the clock, Bulker beaten, and the hosts are certainly proving their quality. This is why I worry about the top six. Watford, Palace, West Brom and Wolves, they're so much better than the rest of the league. And this is where I think we struggle. But Bird's picking the ball up again, just inside the opposition half, goes wide to Hall on the right-hand side, delivers to Whittaker at the back post, and a brilliant guided header back where it came from. It hits the inside of the post and rolls into the net, and it's West Brom 1, Derby 1, and we're back on level terms very quickly. 20 on the clock, and we're competing with them. We're showing signs as Max Bird takes a corner kick into the back post and Lenihan's header unfortunately straight at O'Leary. Not the best effort in the world, but certainly a scare for the hosts. O'Leary's long ball though, flicked on from Campbell. Cash gets there, mops up and finds Bulker. He'll surely want to do well at right back, Cash, the former Villa man, playing against the Black Country rivals, and Hall gets it down the line. Morton flicks it past his man, former West Brom youngster, and he nearly gets the goal. Just at O'Leary, who manages to hold. And with 25 gone, it remains all square. Half time then, still 1-1, a very even game actually. We've had more of the possession, which might help us later on. We've got a warning about Callum Morton having a tight groin, but his fitness is back to 100% now. As Hall gets it on the right-hand side, delivers in towards Whittaker. Oh, the keeper came and got nowhere. Caught in no man's land. And then eventually, as it got to Whittaker, he just had an open net to nod into. Didn't have to direct it, just had to make sure it was somewhere between the posts. And he did just that. 2-1 Derby, and the playoff chase is on. And we're back with 56 on the clock. Flores gets it wide, and on the left-hand side, the goal scorer picks it up for West Brom. He's got 3 up with him, trying to create something special. Oh, does just that. Bulker tips it wide. It's a brilliant save, but excellent goalkeeping, and it's the only thing that denied West Brom. Alioski will take the corner, the former Leeds man. Few of them in the West Brom squad actually. And as Clark heads it away here, Hall's got himself in a 2-on-2. No pressure on the ball. Callum Morton's in the middle. He's just got to stay on side. Aaron Smith does really well though, holds Hall up. And Callum Lang, our former Wigan man, banging in the goals for Forest too. 65 on the clock. We'll go and make some changes in a moment. But this has been a brilliant performance on the road. It's turning into a very good episode, even if not the most exciting one. We'd have hoped for a better performance against Wolves. We'd have hoped for a more exciting deadline day. But overall, it could be 4 points out of 6, and that could be very special. So I'm going to take Hallam Morton off. I'm going to put Whittaker up front and Arvin Appiah on the left, who's done a great job off the bench a couple of times. In midfield, we've still got those struggles with Bird and with Knight, not quite at their best. I'm going to drop Bird to a deep line playmaker on support. I'm almost tempted to replace them, but I'm not going to. At left back, Messina's tired. I don't think we want to do much with that for now. So let's just leave it at one change. And at the moment, we're happy with how things are going. 7 minutes plus stoppage time to go. We will make another change in a minute, but Brown's got the ball for West Brom here. Knight nicks it, finds Whittaker. I was going to take Knight off, but he might have led to something here. Gets it from the sliding challenge, lays Whittaker in. He's 1-on-1 and scores. Morgan Whittaker on the break. Again, 3 of his 4 goals have come since we joined the club. And it is West Brom 1, Derby 3. Knight gets the assist. It will be his last action of the game. And on comes Jensen Weir to see it out. 7 minutes plus stoppage time to go. And this is about to be another brilliant effort. At left back, we are going to bring on Archie Brown for Messina. As we head into 4 minutes of stoppage time, it has been a brilliant display from Derby County. We move back up to 7th with a win against 4th place West Brom. And that is an unbelievable effort. The playoff chase is on. The move is certainly looking like the right one. And although it wasn't a debut for Jesus Medina today, it was a brilliant performance for Derby County. Morgan Whittaker's brilliant hat-trick leaves us in 7th place, just 5 points off the playoffs. Something to get very excited about here. And with the January additions just bolstering the squad a bit, maybe we can do something special. Just maybe. If we go and have a look at the schedule though, we'll try and come back about midway between now and the end of the season. I'm just trying to look out for the big games really. Obviously Forest away is a massive one. Millwall, Palace, Watford is a tough spell, but we'll just have to get that one out of the way. So who are the other sides chasing the playoffs? We've got Sheffield Wednesday directly above us, Birmingham, Reading, QPR below. So that's where we've got to look for. And I think I've seen there, QPR and Birmingham in the middle of March. That's what we're going to come back for. A big double header on the road as we chase the playoffs. But if you did enjoy this episode, a drab performance in the first game but a crucial point, a great win away on the counter at West Brom, and transfer deadline day and some big signings too, please do put a thumbs up on the video. Subscribe down below for daily FM21 content from 2 long-term stories. There's links to all the playlists in the eye above, as well as plenty of championship content over on the podcast channel. So a massive thank you for your support and for giving those a try, as well as continuing to watch this series of course. Let me know in the comments what you thought of the episode, the transfers, the new additions and the big performance on the road. And I'll see you next time for 2 more big games as we try and chase the playoffs here with Derby. Can we do it? We'll find out next time.